At 9:17 on Friday morning, Evelyn Grant pushed a cart of folded towels through her son's house wearing a gray housekeeping dress and a plastic name tag that read Evie. Serena Vale barely looked at her before pointing toward the staircase. The blue guest room belongs to Mrs. Grant. Strip it completely. Her suitcases can go in the carriage house when she arrives. And if she asks, Daniel approved the change. Evelyn's fingers tightened around the cart. Daniel had approved no such thing. She knew because Daniel Grant was her son. And Serena, the elegant woman standing 12 feet away giving orders to someone she believed was a temporary maid, was supposed to marry him in 2 days. Evelyn had promised herself 6 hours. 6 hours pretending to be invisible. 6 hours to answer a question she was ashamed she had even begun asking. Then she would remove the cheap reading glasses, change out of the uniform, and become Daniel Grant's mother again. Rosa Martinez, Daniel's longtime house manager, had called the idea ridiculous. "You're 67 years old, Mrs. Grant. I'm aware. Your son will fire me." "He won't. He'll fire me politely, which is somehow worse." But Evelyn had insisted. 3 temporary housekeepers had walked away from Daniel's estate in 6 weeks. A catering coordinator had asked to be reassigned. Rosa, who had worked for Daniel since his company occupied 2 rented floors above a dentist's office, had become unusually careful whenever Serena's name came up. Whenever Evelyn asked why, Rosa gave the same answer: wedding stress. Evelyn had almost accepted it. Then Serena had suggested that after the wedding Evelyn might be more comfortable spending less time at Daniel's house. She said it pleasantly. Everything Serena did was pleasant when Daniel was in the room. Evelyn knew spying on her future daughter-in-law was wrong. That was why she had almost turned around 3 times before putting on the uniform. Now, less than 20 minutes into her ridiculous experiment, Serena had ordered a stranger to move Evelyn out of the room Daniel had prepared for her and lie about whose decision it was. Evelyn looked toward the stairs. She could end it now. She could straighten her back and say, "Serena, it's me." There would be shock, embarrassment, an argument. Daniel would hear about it before lunch. And whatever Serena said afterward, Evelyn would always wonder what else she might have seen if she had kept quiet. So she lowered her eyes the way Rosa had taught her. "Yes, ma'am." Serena was already walking away, and the wooden chair beside the window goes to storage. Evelyn stopped. It had belonged to Daniel's father. Thomas Grant had sat in that chair every Sunday morning with terrible coffee and the newspaper spread across his knees. After his death, Daniel had restored it himself. "The chair too?" Evelyn asked. Serena turned. For the first time, she really looked at her. "It doesn't fit the room. It looks old." "It is old." Serena gave a thin smile. "Exactly." Then she disappeared down the hall. Evelyn remained beside the cart, staring at the empty staircase. She had expected vanity, maybe impatience. She had not expected erasure. 20 minutes later, Evelyn stood in the blue room folding clothes that belonged to no one yet. Her own suitcase would not arrive until Saturday morning. Daniel thought she was staying with her sister outside Philadelphia until then. That small lie now felt heavier than it had when she told it. Beside the window sat Thomas's chair. The wood along one arm was lighter where his wrist had rubbed against it for 30 years. Evelyn ran 2 fingers over the mark. "You're supposed to be working." She turned. Serena stood in the doorway holding a tablet against her chest. "I was checking whether the drawer was empty." "It is." Serena entered and looked around. The blue room was one of the smallest guest rooms in Daniel's house, which meant it was still larger than the entire first floor of the home Evelyn and Thomas had raised him in. Daniel had bought the estate 4 years earlier after his logistics software company went public. Business magazines described the property as a symbol of his success. Evelyn hated that description. A house was a place where people argued about the thermostat and forgot groceries. It was not a symbol. Serena pointed at a framed photograph on the dresser. "That goes too." Evelyn recognized it without turning. Daniel at 14, standing between his parents at a county science fair, holding a cardboard model of a warehouse conveyor system. Thomas had teased him for weeks. "Other kids built volcanoes. Our son built middle management." Evelyn picked up the frame. "Where would you like it?" Storage. Mrs. Grant might want it. Serena's expression changed almost imperceptibly. You're new, aren't you? Yes. Then here's something that'll help. In this house, you don't need to guess what Mrs. Grant might want. Evelyn waited. Serena placed the tablet on the bed. Daniel has spent years worrying about what his mother might want. I'm trying to give him one weekend where he doesn't have to. There was something behind the words. Not simple dislike. Resentment, perhaps. But resentment usually had a history. Evelyn put the photograph carefully into the box. Serena watched her. Thank you. Then, as though she had been unnecessarily sharp and knew it, she added, I know this all probably seems fussy. Weddings make people insane. Evelyn almost smiled. My husband used to say they only reveal the insanity that was already there. Serena blinked. Then she laughed. It was the first unguarded sound Evelyn had heard from her. That's actually good. He had one or two. He passed. Serena's face softened. I'm sorry. Thank you. For 3 seconds, Evelyn saw the woman Daniel described. Warm. Intelligent. Quick to notice pain. Then Serena noticed the chair again. That still needs to go. And the softness vanished. By 11, Evelyn understood why the staff kept leaving. Serena rarely yelled. Yelling would have been easier. Instead, she corrected. A napkin was careless. Flowers were cheap-looking. A glass set down half an inch from its intended place showed a lack of attention. When a young catering assistant named Mia brought sparkling water instead of still water to the terrace, Serena stared at the bottle as though Mia had placed a dead fish on the table. I said still. I'm sorry. I'll change it. I know you'll change it. That's not the problem. Mia stopped. Serena lowered her voice. The problem is that I shouldn't have to check.
The girl's face reddened. Evelyn watched from behind the service table. Mia was no more than 23. She took the bottle and walked quickly toward the kitchen. Serena returned to her seating chart. Evelyn followed Mia. She found her beside the pantry, blinking hard while replacing bottles in a silver bucket. You all right? Evelyn asked. Fine. That usually means no. Mia gave a shaky laugh. I mixed up water. Apparently civilization is ending. Evelyn reached for the bucket. Give me half. You don't have to. I know. They carried it together. At the kitchen door, Mia stopped. She's not always awful. Evelyn looked at her. I didn't say she was. She tipped everyone really well after the engagement party. Like really well. And when my brother was in the hospital, she changed my shift without making a thing about it. That interested Evelyn. Then why is everyone afraid of her? Mia thought for a moment. Because if she thinks you're embarrassing her, you stop being a person. Before Evelyn could ask what that meant, Serena appeared. Mia. The girl straightened. Yes. The florist is outside. Mia hurried away. Serena's gaze moved to Evelyn. You're here through Sunday. That's what the agency told me. I may need you later tonight. Evelyn nodded. Serena took 2 steps then stopped. And don't get too friendly with the temporary staff. Half of them won't be here next week. Evelyn looked at her. People usually work better when they feel welcome. Serena's eyes narrowed slightly. People work better when they know what's expected. She walked away. Evelyn watched her go. That was the first moment she considered ending the experiment for a different reason. Not because she had seen enough. Because she was beginning to dislike the person she became while watching. Every sentence Serena spoke now sounded like evidence. Every look became suspicious. Evelyn had spent 34 years as a school librarian. She had broken up arguments between teenagers who believed one insult explained an entire human being. She knew better. If she wanted the truth, she had to look for the parts that did not fit. At noon, Serena gave her one. Evelyn was polishing the dining room table when she heard Serena answer her phone. The voice that came through the speaker was Daniel's. Evelyn froze. She had not heard from him that morning. Hey, Serena said, and immediately she sounded different. Not fake. Lighter. Daniel asked something Evelyn couldn't make out. Serena smiled. Yes, everything's under control. Another pause. No, your mother's room is perfect. Evelyn slowly set down the cloth. Serena continued. I left the photograph of you and your dad by the window. I know she likes that one. Evelyn stared at the back of Serena's head. The photograph was currently inside a cardboard box marked storage. Daniel said something. Serena laughed. Of course I want her comfortable. Stop worrying. Another pause. I love you too. She ended the call. For several seconds, neither woman moved. Then Serena turned. Her smile disappeared when she noticed Evelyn. How long have you been standing there? I was polishing the table. That wasn't my question. Evelyn could feel her own heartbeat. She could tell Serena everything. Instead, she said, long enough to hear you discussing Mrs. Grant's room. Serena placed the phone face down. You're paid to clean, Evie. Yes. Then clean. Evelyn picked up the cloth. Serena headed toward the door. Ma'am. Serena stopped. If Mr. Grant thinks his mother is staying in the blue room, what happens when she arrives? Serena turned slowly. For a moment Evelyn thought she might explode. Instead, Serena sighed. She'll complain. And then, Daniel will feel guilty. He'll try to fix it. She'll tell him it's fine while making it obvious it isn't. He'll spend half the weekend checking whether she's upset. Evelyn's grip tightened on the cloth. That sounds specific. It is. Serena walked back toward the table. You don't know this family. No. Daniel's father died 8 years ago. Since then, Daniel has treated his mother like she might break if he looks away. Something inside Evelyn went still. Serena continued. He cancels meetings for her. He changes plans for her. He calls every night if he's traveling. She doesn't demand it. That almost made it worse. She just looks disappointed enough that he does it anyway. Evelyn wanted to defend herself. She wanted to say Serena had no idea what Thomas's death had done to them. How Daniel had flown home from Singapore when Evelyn stopped answering her phone. How he had slept on the floor outside her bedroom the first Christmas because she couldn't stop crying. How grief had made ordinary things impossible. But none of that answered the accusation. Because beneath Serena's cruelty was an uncomfortable piece of truth. Daniel did call every night. Evelyn had never asked him to. She had also never told him he could stop. Serena looked toward the staircase. I love him. And I'm not spending the next 20 years watching him apologize every time he chooses his own life. Then she looked back at Evelyn. So yes, I moved the room. Without telling him. If I tell Daniel beforehand, he'll turn it into a negotiation. That's still lying. Serena's jaw tightened. You have opinions for someone I met 3 hours ago. I'm old. Opinions accumulate. For half a second Serena looked like she might smile. He didn't. Finish the table. Left. Evelyn stood alone in the dining room. The house suddenly felt too quiet. She had come looking for proof that Serena was wrong for Daniel. Instead, she had found proof that Serena might understand something Evelyn had refused to see. That frightened her more. At 1:30, Evelyn took her lunch outside behind the service entrance. Rosa joined her with 2 cups of coffee. You look sick, Rosa said. I'm thinking. That always makes you look sick. Evelyn accepted the coffee. Did Daniel really cancel a board dinner last November because I had a dentist appointment? Rosa stared at her. How would I know? You know everything. That does not mean I confess everything. Rosa sighed. Yes. Evelyn looked down. He said the dinner was moved. It wasn't. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because you would have felt guilty. I feel guilty now. Which is why nobody told you. Evelyn closed her eyes. Rosa sat beside her. Mrs. Grant, you are not the problem Serena thinks you are. I might be part of it. Being loved by your son is not a crime. Depending on it might become one. Rosa said nothing. That silence answered more than reassurance would have. Evelyn stared across the lawn. When Thomas died, Daniel decided his job was to keep me standing. You were barely standing. That was 8 years ago. Rosa took a sip of coffee. Then maybe both things can be true. Evelyn looked at her. Serena can be wrong about how she treats people. And she can be right that your son needs room to breathe. Evelyn gave a humorless laugh. I preferred you when you agreed with me. No, you didn't. No, she hadn't. That was why Rosa was still there. A shadow fell across the concrete. Serena stood above them. Rosa immediately rose. Ms. Vale. Serena looked from Rosa to Evelyn. Evie, I need you upstairs. Evelyn stood. Serena turned to Rosa. And I need the West Hall clear by 3. It will be. Thank you. They walked inside. At the foot of the staircase, Serena said. She likes you. Rosa. Yes. I like her. Everybody likes Rosa. There was no warmth in Serena's voice. Evelyn followed her upstairs. What's wrong with that? Serena stopped at the landing. Nothing. But something clearly was. Serena led her into the primary bedroom. An open garment bag lay across the bed. Shoes, jewelry boxes, tissue paper, and wedding accessories covered nearly every surface. Serena pointed toward a cedar box on the dresser. That belongs downstairs. Evelyn recognized it immediately. Thomas had built it in a woodworking class during his first year of retirement. Inside were letters. Some from Evelyn. Some from Daniel. One from Thomas to Daniel that he had written during a heart scare and never needed to give him. Daniel had found it after his father died. He kept the box close. Where downstairs? Evelyn asked. Storage. Mr. Grant keeps it here. He did. Evelyn did not move. Serena exhaled impatiently. The decorators need the dresser clear. Then I could put it in his office. No. Why not? Because I said storage. Evelyn looked at Serena. You don't like old things. Serena stared at her. That's what you think this is about. I don't know what it's about. Serena folded her arms. You really don't know when to stop, do you? I've been told. For several seconds Serena said nothing. Then something changed in her face. Not anger. Exhaustion. She sat on the edge of the bed. My mother cleaned houses. Evelyn stayed still. Serena looked toward the gray uniform. She wore almost exactly what you're wearing. The room seemed to shrink. Sometimes she brought me with her when she couldn't get childcare. I used to sit in laundry rooms and do homework while people walked past me. Evelyn said nothing. Serena rubbed a thumb across her palm. One woman had a daughter my age. Her closet was bigger than our apartment bedroom. She once handed me a garbage bag full of clothes and said, Your mother says you can probably use these. Serena laughed once. She thought she was being kind. Maybe she was trying to be. That doesn't mean it didn't hurt. No. Serena looked at her. That's why I hate clutter. Old furniture. Little sentimental things everywhere. People pretend objects don't matter, but they do. They tell everyone where you came from. Evelyn glanced at Thomas's cedar box. And you don't want anyone knowing where you came from. I don't want to live there anymore. There it was. Not greed. Fear. Old, stubborn fear dressed in expensive clothes. Evelyn understood it. She also understood something Serena apparently did not. Running from humiliation could turn into humiliating everyone behind you. You know what people in this uniform feel like then, Evelyn said. Serena's face hardened. Excuse me. You know what it's like when someone decides you're less important because of what you're wearing. Serena rose. I have never said you're less important. No. Evelyn looked toward the door. You just talk like it. Serena stared at her. Evelyn expected to be fired. Instead, Serena walked to the dresser, picked up Thomas's cedar box, and pushed it into Evelyn's hands. Storage. Evelyn held it. No. Serena went very still. What did you say? I said no. You work here. Today I do. Then do your job. My job doesn't include deciding what Mr. Grant gets to keep from his father. Serena stepped closer. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Then put it in his office and let him decide. Serena's breathing changed. If every employee in this house decided which instruction deserved obedience, nothing would function. Maybe. Evelyn set the cedar box back on the dresser. But some things shouldn't function that smoothly. Serena stared at her for a long moment. Then she reached for her phone. I can call the agency. You can. You'll be off this property in 20 minutes. I understand. Serena unlocked the screen. Then stopped. Her eyes moved toward the cedar box. She locked the phone again. Get out. Evelyn left. Her knees were shaking by the time she reached the stairs. Not because Serena had frightened her. Because Evelyn had just crossed the point where this could remain an experiment. She had acted. And actions had consequences. At 3 o'clock, Daniel called. Not Serena. Evelyn. Her real phone vibrated inside the pocket Rosa had sewn into the housekeeping dress. She slipped into the pantry and answered quietly. Hello, Mom. Hearing his voice almost undid her. Hi, sweetheart. How's Aunt Carol? Evelyn closed her eyes. Her sister Carol was perfectly fine and currently at a movie theater 50 miles away. She's fine. Still coming tomorrow. That's the plan. Good. She heard traffic behind him. You driving? Cars driving. I'm pretending to work. Evelyn smiled despite herself. How's Serena? Daniel laughed. Ask me after Sunday. Daniel. I'm kidding. She's stressed. Evelyn leaned against the counter. Are you? Was. A little. About the wedding. About making everybody happy. Evelyn looked through the pantry doorway toward the stairs. Everybody. Ooh. Serena. Or family. Investors who somehow think getting invited to a wedding is a business strategy. Daniel. What? Do you ever get tired of making sure I'm okay? Silence. Long enough that Evelyn knew she had surprised him. Where did that come from? Answer me. No. Came too fast. Daniel. He sighed. Sometimes I worry about you. That isn't what I asked. Another silence. Then he said softly. Sometimes. Evelyn swallowed. She thought about Serena moving the chair. The photograph. The lies. Then she thought about Daniel canceling dinners and changing flights because his mother's voice sounded lonely. I'm sorry, she said. For what? I'll tell you tomorrow. Mom, are you all right? There it was. Immediate. Automatic. His worry. Evelyn almost laughed. I'm fine. Are you sure? Yes. She heard herself saying it the way people said it when they wanted someone to stop asking. This time she meant it. I'm fine, Daniel. Finish your work. When she ended the call, Serena was standing in the doorway. Evelyn's blood went cold. Serena's eyes moved from the phone to Evelyn's face. You're allowed personal calls, she said. Just not in front of guests. Evelyn breathed again. Understood. Serena walked away. Evelyn looked at the phone in her hand. She could not do this much longer. At 4:15, she found Serena alone in the blue room. Thomas's chair was gone. So was the photograph. A luggage rack had been placed near the bed. For one hopeful second, Evelyn thought Serena had changed her mind. Then she saw a printed card on the dresser. Welcome, Mrs. Grant. She picked it up. Serena entered behind her. What do you think? Evelyn turned. You made a welcome card. Yes. For a woman you're sending to the carriage house. Serena shut the door. I knew there was something about you. Evelyn's heart started beating harder. Serena stepped forward. You ask questions you shouldn't ask. You watch everything. Evelyn said nothing. Who sent you? No one. Are you a reporter? That almost made Evelyn laugh. No. Then what? Evelyn looked at the welcome card again. There was no reason to continue. She removed the plastic glasses. Serena frowned. Evelyn reached behind her head and loosened the gray scarf covering most of her hair. Serena's face changed. First confusion, then recognition, then absolute disbelief. Evelyn took off the name tag. "My name isn't Evie." Serena backed away. "No. My name is Evelyn Grant." Serena stared at her. Daniel's mother stood in the housekeeping uniform between the bed and the window. Neither woman spoke. Finally Serena whispered, "You're insane." Evelyn nodded once. "That is a possible interpretation. You dressed up as a maid." "Yes." "To spy on me." "Yes." Serena's cheeks flushed. "You let me talk to you all day." "Yes." "You let me tell you things about my mother." Evelyn's shame rose immediately. "That part one regret." "That part. I regret all of it. But that part most." Serena turned away. "This is unbelievable." "I know." "No, you don't." She spun back. "You walked into my wedding weekend in costume to test me like I'm applying for a job." "I did." "What kind of person does that?" "A frightened one." Serena laughed bitterly. "You were frightened of me." "I was frightened Daniel was about to marry someone I didn't understand. So you humiliated me." "I haven't told anyone. You put me in a position where I unknowingly exposed my private life to you." "Yes." Evelyn did not defend herself. Serena seemed almost more unsettled by that. "You're not going to make excuses." "No." "Convenient." "Probably." Serena paced toward the window. Then she stopped. "You're going to tell Daniel?" "Yes." Serena turned. "Tonight?" "Yes." "You're going to destroy our wedding over this?" Evelyn looked directly at her. "I'm going to tell my son what I did." "And what I did?" "If he asks." Serena gave a disbelieving laugh. "If he asks." "I'm not interested in performing a prosecution." "You already did." "All day." Evelyn took that. "'Cause it was true." Serena pointed at the uniform. "You came here wanting to catch me. I came here hoping I wouldn't." "That's the same thing." "No. It is when you already dislike me." Evelyn paused. "I didn't dislike you. You never trusted me. I didn't know you. You never tried." That landed too. Evelyn thought about dinners where she had smiled, asked polite questions, and waited for Serena to prove she was worthy of Daniel. Maybe that was not trying to know someone. Maybe it was interviewing them. Serena sank onto the chair beside the bed. The anger drained from her face, leaving something closer to fear. "He'll leave me." Evelyn did not answer. Serena looked up. "You know that, right?" "No. You're his mother." "That doesn't mean I know what he'll choose." "You're the person he always chooses." The words filled the room. Evelyn sat across from her. "That may be part of the problem." Serena frowned. Evelyn folded her hands. "You were right about something today." Serena waited. "I have let Daniel take too much responsibility for me." Serena's anger seemed to hesitate. Evelyn continued. "When his father died, Daniel became the person who called, fixed things, came over, changed plans. And somewhere along the way I stopped noticing what it cost him." "You're admitting that?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because it's true." Serena looked away. Evelyn studied her. "But you were wrong about something too." Serena's jaw tightened. "You don't free Daniel by lying to him." Silence. "You don't protect your marriage by making everyone around you smaller." Serena stood. "You think this is about being cruel to employees." "I think you're terrified of being powerless." Serena stared at her. "And I think every time you feel that fear, you find somebody with less power than you and make sure they feel it instead. That is not fair. Mia brought you the wrong water. This is ridiculous. You made her feel incompetent over a bottle. I expect people to do the jobs they're paid to do. So did the families your mother cleaned for." Serena's face went pale. Evelyn immediately regretted the sharpness. "That was cruel," she said. Serena said nothing. I'm sorry. No. Serena's voice was quiet now. Don't apologize because it makes you uncomfortable. Evelyn waited. Serena looked around the room. You know what I promised myself when I was 14? No. That nobody would ever look at me the way those women looked at my mother. Her eyes filled, but she refused to wipe them. I watched her scrub somebody else's bathtub while they complained that she moved a perfume bottle 2 inches. I watched people speak slowly to her because she had an accent. I watched them leave cash on the counter like they were feeding an animal. Evelyn listened. And every day, Serena continued, my mother smiled. She said thank you. She told me to study. Serena breathed out. So I studied. I worked. Got scholarships. I learned which fork to use and which wine people pretend they can taste. I built a life where nobody could ever put me in a uniform and tell me where I belonged. Evelyn looked down at the gray dress. And then you became the person giving the orders. Serena closed her eyes. Neither woman spoke for several seconds. Then the front door opened downstairs. Daniel's voice carried through the hall. Anybody home? Serena's eyes snapped open. Evelyn stood. The moment had arrived sooner than either expected. Serena grabbed Evelyn's arm. Please. Evelyn looked down at her hand. Serena released it immediately. Give me tonight. For what? To fix this. You can't fix it before he knows. Yes, I can. That's what got us here. Evelyn. It was the first time Serena had used her name. He has hundreds of people coming tomorrow. Board members, friends, family, press photographers outside the gate. If you tell him tonight, everything explodes. That isn't a reason to lie. It's one night. No. Serena's face hardened. There it is. What? The decision. Evelyn waited. You say you won't make Daniel choose, but you already know what happens when you walk downstairs dressed like that. Evelyn looked at herself. Serena was right. The uniform itself was an accusation. Evelyn reached for the cardigan she had left on a chair. She buttoned it over the dress. I'll tell him privately. You think that makes it better? No. What do you want from me? The truth. I've told you the truth. Not him. Footsteps sounded on the stairs. Serena stared at Evelyn. Then she whispered, You win. Evelyn shook her head. If this feels like winning to you, you still don't understand. Daniel appeared in the doorway. He stopped. His eyes moved first to Serena, then to the older woman beside the bed. His face went blank. Mom. Evelyn swallowed. Hi, sweetheart. He stared at the gray skirt visible beneath her cardigan. What are you wearing? Serena laughed once. There was no humor in it. Why don't you ask her? Daniel looked at Evelyn. Mom. I need to tell you something. His expression changed. What happened? I lied to you. Daniel said nothing. I wasn't with Aunt Carol today. He looked at the housekeeping dress again. Realization arrived slowly. No. Evelyn nodded. I asked Rosa to let me work here for the day. You did what? I pretended to be temporary housekeeping staff. Daniel stared at her. Why? Serena answered. To spy on me. Evelyn looked at her. That's accurate. Daniel stepped into the room. His voice became quieter. You disguised yourself as an employee to test my fiancé? Yes. He turned away. Evelyn saw his hand go to the back of his neck the way it had since childhood whenever he was trying not to say something he would regret. Daniel. No. He turned around. You don't get to Daniel me yet. Evelyn nodded. All right. Do you understand how insane this is? Yes. You lied to me. Yes. You dragged Rosa into it. Yes. You came into my home pretending to be somebody else because you didn't trust me to choose the person I'm marrying. Evelyn's throat tightened. Yes. Serena crossed her arms. Daniel looked at her. And you knew. Not until 10 minutes ago. Daniel paced once across the room. He looked furious. Not at Serena. at Evelyn. And Evelyn realized this was the cost she had known existed but had secretly hoped she could avoid. She had imagined discovering something terrible, revealing it, and having her son instantly understand. Real life did not work that way. She had betrayed him first. Daniel looked at her. What did you expect to find? I didn't know. That's not an answer. I expected to understand why staff members kept leaving. So you thought Serena was abusing employees? I thought something was wrong. You could have asked me. I did. You asked if she was stressed. I should have asked better. Daniel laughed in disbelief. Serena remained silent. Evelyn looked at her son. I was wrong to do this. Daniel's anger faltered slightly. I'm not saying that because I found nothing, Evelyn continued. And I'm not saying it because I want you to forgive me quickly. I crossed a line. Daniel looked at Serena, then back at Evelyn. So what did you find? Evelyn did not answer immediately. Serena did. She thinks I'm classist. Evelyn looked at her. She thinks I treat staff badly. She thinks I'm controlling you. She thinks I'm trying to remove her from your life. Daniel frowned. What? Serena's voice grew sharper. Go ahead. Tell him. Evelyn inhaled. Serena moved me out of the blue room. Daniel looked at Serena. What does that mean? She planned to put me in the carriage house. Daniel frowned. Why? Serena spoke quickly. Your mother hates the noise in this part of the house. I never said that. Daniel's eyes moved between them. Serena continued. I thought she'd be more comfortable somewhere private. You told me this afternoon Mom's room was ready. It is. In here. Serena hesitated. Daniel's expression changed. You told me her photograph was by the window. Silence. Daniel looked toward the dresser. There was no photograph. Where is it? Serena's face hardened. It was cluttered. Daniel stared at her. My father's chair. No one answered. He looked toward the empty space by the window. Where's my dad's chair? Storage. Daniel's voice dropped. You moved my father's chair. For 2 days. Why? Because this room is being photographed tomorrow. Evelyn watched something shift in her son. Not rage. Recognition. Daniel turned to Serena. Did you tell the staff I approved this? Serena said nothing. Serena. Yes. Daniel closed his eyes. Evelyn stepped forward. Daniel. He opened them. There's more, she said. Serena looked at her sharply. Evelyn continued. But before I tell you any of it, there's something you need to hear from me. She reached into the cardigan pocket. Her fingers closed around the brass key Daniel had given her 4 years earlier when he bought the house. He had placed it in her palm during the first Christmas here. You never have to knock, he had said. At the time it had felt like love. Maybe it still was. But love could become obligation if nobody was careful. Evelyn placed the key on the dresser. Daniel stared at it. What are you doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. Mom. Serena is right about one thing. Serena looked surprised. Evelyn kept her eyes on Daniel. You've spent too many years making sure I'm all right. Daniel's expression softened. I wanted to. I know. You needed me. I did. Then what's the problem? The problem is that I got better and never told you the job was finished. Daniel said nothing. Evelyn's voice trembled now. When your father died, I leaned on you because I couldn't stand by myself. You were a good son. Maybe too good. She looked toward the missing chair. I let you cancel things. Change plans. Call every night. I told myself it was your choice. It was. Yes. She nodded. But I also knew what my disappointment could do to you. Daniel looked down. Evelyn felt tears forming but continued. I won't use that tonight. Serena looked from mother to son. Evelyn pushed the key toward Daniel. I'm not asking you to choose me. Mom. I'm asking you to choose the life you can respect when everybody else leaves the room. Silence settled over the blue room. Evelyn looked at Serena. And I'm going to do the same. She turned toward the door. Daniel stepped in front of her. You're leaving. Yes. We're not done. No. But I am done standing here while you think you have to protect me from whatever happens next. His eyes filled with frustration. What happened today? Evelyn looked at Serena. Serena folded her arms tightly across herself. Evelyn answered. Ask her. Daniel frowned. I'm asking you. I know. Mom. Evelyn shook her head. If I tell you every detail, you'll spend the rest of the night deciding whether you believe your mother or your fiancé. Daniel stared at her. That's exactly what you created. Yes. The words hurt. But Evelyn did not run from them. I created this part. I'm sorry. She looked at Serena. But she created her part. Then Evelyn walked out. Daniel did not follow. Not immediately. Downstairs, Rosa stood beside the dining table. One look at Evelyn's face told her everything. He knows. Yes. Am I unemployed? Probably not. That is not reassuring. Evelyn managed a small smile. I'm leaving. Rosa looked toward the staircase. Should I come with you? No. Should I call a car? I already did. Rosa lowered her voice. What happens now? Evelyn glanced toward the ceiling. For once. She picked up her purse. Daniel decides. Upstairs, Daniel stood across from Serena. For several moments he said nothing. Serena finally broke the silence. She manipulated this entire situation. I know. You're not acting like you know. I'm furious with her. Then why do I feel like I'm on trial? Daniel looked at the empty space where his father's chair had been. Because you lied to me. Serena laughed bitterly. About a room. About my mother. Because you never deal with her. Daniel looked at her. Serena stepped closer. You say yes to everyone. That's not true. It is. No. You told me we needed boundaries with your mother. We do. You said you wanted this house to feel like ours. I do. Then every time I suggested something you said, we'll figure it out. Daniel said nothing. That means I have to be the bad person. I never told you to lie. You told me to handle it. Not like this. How? Her voice broke. How, Daniel? For the first time that day, Serena was not composed. You won't tell your mother no. You won't tell your board no. You won't tell your friends no. Then you stand there shocked when I become the person who has to make decisions. Daniel looked at her. That's why you moved my father's things. No. Then why? Because I am tired of living in a museum to people I never knew. He stared at her. Serena wiped at her eyes angrily. Every room has a story about your father. Every holiday has a tradition from your childhood. Every dinner with your mother turns into some memory I wasn't part of. Daniel's anger softened into something else. You never told me that. I shouldn't have to beg for space in my own marriage. We're not married yet. Serena flinched. Daniel regretted the words immediately. But he did not take them back. Serena looked toward the hallway. She came here in a costume to expose me. Yes. And somehow I'm the only problem. No. Daniel glanced at the brass key. My mother just admitted something I've been afraid to say to her for 8 years. Serena said nothing. And you're right about me too. He looked at her. I avoid conflict. Her face changed. I keep everybody comfortable until somebody else has to become uncomfortable for me. Serena crossed her arms. So what happens now? Daniel exhaled. I need you to tell me what happened today. She'll twist it. She left. Serena looked toward the door. What? She left without giving me a list. Daniel stepped closer. She gave you the chance to tell me. Serena stared at him. For the next 20 minutes, slowly and angrily and sometimes defensively, Serena did. She told him about the water bottle. She told him about the blue room. She admitted she had told Evelyn to move Thomas's cedar box. She admitted she had threatened to call the housekeeping agency when Evelyn refused. Daniel listened. When Serena reached the part about her mother cleaning houses, her voice changed. She told him more than she had told Evelyn. About the apartment where the heat had been shut off twice. About being 14 years old and ashamed to invite friends home. About learning early that rich people could make carelessness look elegant while poor people had to make perfection look ordinary. Daniel sat beside her. I knew some of this. No. Serena shook her head. You knew the version I tell at charity dinners. Daniel looked down. She continued. I thought if I became successful enough, I'd stop noticing who gets seated near the kitchen door. Did you? No. Her eyes filled. I notice everything. Daniel reached for her hand. She let him take it. I hate feeling judged, Serena whispered. Daniel nodded. So you judge first. She pulled her hand away. That's not fair. Is it wrong? Serena did not answer. Downstairs, Rosa entered the doorway. Mr. Grant. Daniel stood. What is it? The chair. He frowned. What about it? Do you want it returned? Serena looked away. Daniel considered the question. Normally he would have said yes immediately. Instead he looked at Serena, then back at Rosa. Put it in my office tonight. Rosa nodded. And the blue room. Daniel glanced at Serena. Leave it empty. Rosa left. Serena laughed quietly. So now your mother isn't staying here at all? I don't know. You're punishing me. No. Daniel looked at her. I'm trying to stop letting rooms make decisions for us. Serena stared at him. Outside, Evelyn's car was already turning through the gates. She did not look back. The rehearsal dinner was supposed to begin at 7 the following evening. At 6:30 it was cancelled. Daniel called every guest himself until his assistant convinced him that a single message would be less exhausting. The wedding was postponed. Not cancelled. Not yet. Evelyn learned that from Rosa, not Daniel. Daniel did not call his mother Friday night. He did not call Saturday morning. For the first time in years, Evelyn woke without seeing his name on her phone. She expected the silence to hurt. Did. But underneath the hurt was something unexpected. Relief. She made coffee. Bad coffee the way Thomas used to. Then she sat at her kitchen table in the small house she had kept even after Daniel begged her to move closer to him. Noon someone knocked. Evelyn knew who it was before she opened the door. Daniel stood on the porch. He looked exhausted. Hi. Hi. For years he had used his key. Now he waited outside. Evelyn opened the door wider. Come in. He did. Neither spoke while Evelyn poured him coffee. Daniel took one sip. This is terrible. Your father liked it. Dad ate peanut butter with a spoon. His judgment is not admissible. Evelyn smiled. Daniel did too. Then the smile disappeared. He put down the cup. I'm angry with you. I know. Really angry. I know. You could have trusted me. I should have. You treated Serena like she was something to investigate. Yes. You embarrassed Rosa. Yes. And me. Evelyn looked at him. I'm sorry. Daniel studied her. No explanation followed. No defense. Just the apology. Finally he leaned back. You really think I call you too much? Evelyn laughed softly. That's what you got from all of this. I'm working through the list. She looked down at her hands. I think you worry about me too much. I watched you disappear after Dad died. I know. I thought if I stopped paying attention, it could happen again. Evelyn looked at him. There are things a child sees once and stays scared of forever. You barely ate. I remember. You didn't answer the phone. I remember that too. Daniel's jaw tightened. I found you sitting on the bedroom floor in the dark. Evelyn closed her eyes briefly. Yes. So forgive me if I don't find it easy to believe you're suddenly fine. I didn't say suddenly. Daniel looked at her. Evelyn reached across the table. I should have told you sooner. He stared at their hands. You don't need to call every night. What if I want to? Then call. And if I'm busy? Then don't. He smiled faintly. You'll be okay. No. Daniel frowned. Evelyn squeezed his hand. Not every day. She smiled. Nobody is. He looked down. But being lonely sometimes doesn't mean something has gone wrong. Daniel nodded slowly. They sat quietly. Finally Evelyn asked, "How is Serena?" He pulled his hand back. "I don't know. You postponed the wedding." "Yes. Because of me." Daniel looked at her sharply. "No." Evelyn waited. "Because I realized we were getting married without saying things we should have said months ago." He rubbed his forehead. "She thinks I made her enforce every boundary because I was too afraid to." "Did you?" "Sometimes." Evelyn nodded. "She thinks you never wanted her in the family." Evelyn looked down. "Maybe I didn't make it easy." "No." He paused. "But that doesn't excuse what she did." "No. She apologized to Rosa this morning." Evelyn looked up. "Properly?" "Rosa made her start over twice." Evelyn smiled. "That sounds like Rosa." Daniel looked toward the window. "Serena and I talked until 4. And I love her." Evelyn's chest tightened, but she stayed quiet. Daniel looked back at her. "And I don't know if loving her means I should marry her." Evelyn nodded. "That sounds painful. You're not going to tell me what to do?" "No." "Since when?" "Since approximately yesterday." Daniel laughed. It surprised both of them. Then his face grew serious. "She said something that I can't get out of my head." "What?" "She said she spent her entire childhood believing rich people had the power to decide whether her mother mattered." Evelyn listened. "And now she finally has money and status, and somehow she became obsessed with deciding who matters." Evelyn nodded. "She sees it. Seeing it isn't changing it." "No." Daniel stared at his coffee. "I told her I wouldn't reschedule the wedding unless we both knew we could build something different." "That seems sensible." "She said she doesn't know if she can forgive you." Evelyn looked at him. "She doesn't have to." Daniel blinked. "I violated her trust." "She lied about you." "Yes. Mom. Both can be true." Daniel sat quietly. Evelyn rose and took their cups to the sink. When she turned around, Daniel was holding something. The brass key. He placed it on the table. "You forgot this." Evelyn stared at it. "No. I want you to have it." "I know." "Then take it." She smiled. "Not yet." Daniel frowned. "It's a key. It stopped being one a long time ago." He looked at the small piece of brass between them. Evelyn continued. "When you gave me that, you said I never had to knock." "I meant it." "I know. And now I think knocking is good." Daniel laughed softly. "You're serious?" "I am." "What if there's an emergency?" "You have a phone." "What if you don't answer?" "Then you may break a window." He shook his head. "You're impossible. So was your father. That is becoming your excuse for everything." "It has served me well." Daniel picked up the key. For a moment Evelyn could see the boy he had been. Not the billionaire photographed beside politicians and CEOs. Not the founder whose employees watched stock prices every time he walked onto a stage. Just Daniel, her son. A man who had spent 8 years trying to save his mother from a grief that was no longer drowning her. He slipped the key into his pocket. "All right." Evelyn nodded. "All right." 3 weeks later, Serena came to Evelyn's house alone. Evelyn almost didn't recognize her. No heels. No tailored dress. No makeup beyond what looked like 10 seconds in front of a mirror. She stood on the porch holding Thomas's cedar box. Evelyn opened the door but did not immediately invite her inside. Serena noticed. "You make everyone knock now." "I'm experimenting with boundaries." Serena almost smiled. "I heard." She held out the box. "Daniel said this belongs with you." Evelyn looked at it. "No." Serena frowned. It was Thomas's. It belongs to Daniel. He said he doesn't want it right now. Then he can store it. Serena looked down at the box. I thought bringing it here might be a peace offering. From him. From me. Evelyn studied her. Serena inhaled. I'm sorry. Evelyn waited. Serena gave a nervous laugh. Rosa told me not to add explanations to an apology. That sounds like Rosa. So I'm sorry. Evelyn looked at the woman in front of her. Not the fiancé. Not the villain she had expected to discover. Not the frightened girl Serena still carried around like a hidden bruise. Just a woman who had hurt people because she was afraid of being hurt. Evelyn understood that more than she wanted to. I'm sorry too, she said. Serena looked up. I invaded your privacy. I judged you before I understood you. And what I did was dishonest. Serena nodded. That doesn't mean what I did was okay. No. And your apology doesn't mean I trust you. No. Serena looked almost relieved. Evelyn stepped aside. Would you like coffee? Serena hesitated. Is it good? No. Serena smiled for the first time. Then sure. They sat in Evelyn's kitchen. They did not fix the family. They did not become friends. They did not decide whether a wedding would ever happen. They talked for 40 minutes. Mostly about ordinary things. Serena's mother. Work. Terrible caterer. At one point Serena noticed a photograph on Evelyn's shelf. Daniel at 14, standing between his parents with his ridiculous science fair project. That was in the blue room, Serena said. Yes. I shouldn't have moved it. No. Serena looked at the photograph. I kept thinking that if I removed enough evidence of the life Daniel had before me, eventually I'd feel like I belonged in the life he had now. Evelyn looked at her. Did it work? Serena shook her head. No. Evelyn took a sip of coffee. Belonging usually works better when you add something. Serena smiled faintly. That sounds like something a librarian would say. It absolutely is. When Serena left, she took the cedar box with her. Evelyn watched from the window as she placed it carefully in the passenger seat. There was no wedding date yet. Maybe there would be one. Maybe there wouldn't. Evelyn had decided that was not her decision to make. The following Sunday Daniel came for dinner. At 6 exactly the doorbell rang. Evelyn stood in the hallway for a moment, listening to the sound fade. 4 years, Daniel would have opened the door himself. His key would have turned. His voice would have called from the hall. Mom! Now he waited outside. Not because he belonged less. Because they had finally learned that loving someone did not require unrestricted access to every room in their life. Evelyn opened the door. Daniel stood there holding a paper bag from the bakery Thomas had loved. You knocked, she said. You told me to. Good. He lifted the bag. I brought pie. That's better. Daniel smiled. Evelyn stepped aside. And her son came home because he had chosen to visit, not because he was afraid she couldn't survive without him. For the first time in years, Daniel had knocked. And for the first time, Evelyn was glad he did.